Hi, welcome to this webinar on PRINCE2 Project Management Team. I am Ashish To, Project Management Trainer and Consultant at Projecting IT. Projecting IT is an accredited training organization for PRINCE2 Agile, Change Management and Earned Value Management trainings. In this discussion, we are going to talk about the PRINCE2 Project Management Team structure, the roles within the project management team and their responsibilities. PRINCE2 organization theme covers the information about project management team. Projects are done for the people, by the people. These are your project stakeholders. A stakeholder is anyone who can affect or get affected by the project. We must ensure that we manage our stakeholder expectations to deliver a successful project. The people who work on the project come from different departments, locations, and even external organizations. So when they are assigned to the project, they should know what they are supposed to do on the project and who they are report to. PRINCE2 defines the roles and responsibilities required on any project. This helps in bringing accountability within the project teams so that we know what to expect and from whom. These roles are assigned to the project management team members. All these roles must be assigned and none of these roles are optional. This helps in applying the PRINCE2 principle, define roles and responsibilities. For example, senior user is responsible for specifying the project requirements and finally accept the project, whereas the senior supplier is responsible for providing resources who deliver the solution. And the executive, well, is one who provides required funding to the project. And then that's you, the project manager. And what are you responsible for? Well, almost everything from planning, delegating, reporting to ensuring that each stage is completed as agreed with the board. You are also responsible for keeping stakeholders informed about the project. PRINCE2 offers all these roles and responsibilities and also guidance on how you should assign these roles to the people working on your project management team. The PRINCE2 organization theme describes the levels of management in any project. The theme defines the structure of the project management team and the roles and responsibilities. People who are assigned to the project management team are given these specific roles. The organization theme also discusses the stakeholder engagement and how they should be informed and communicated throughout the project. By assigning defined roles and responsibilities, we bring clear-cut responsibilities amongst the team. You know who is going to provide you with the project requirements, you know who is going to provide you with the resources, and you also know whom to go to when there are project changes so that you can get the changes approved to go and implement. The project board sits at the top in the project management team. The project board is responsible for providing direction to the project team. The project board is appointed by the corporate and there are three roles that makes up the project board. Senior user. Now, senior user is the one who will basically provide you with the project requirements and also use your products when they are delivered at the end of the project. Senior user represents the users of your project. Senior supplier, they provide you with the solution, they provide you with the solution that will be delivered by the project. Hi everyone, welcome to this webinar on PRINCE2 Project Management Team. I'm Ashish To, Project Management Trainer and Consultant at Projecting IT. Projecting IT is an accredited training organization for PRINCE2 Agile, Change Management and Earned Value Management training. In this presentation, we will talk about the PRINCE2 Project Management Team rules, structure and the responsibilities of each role. The organization theme in PRINCE2 covers the various roles required on the project management team. Projects are done by people for the people. These are your project stakeholders. A stakeholder is anyone who can affect or get affected by your project. We must ensure that we manage our stakeholder expectations to deliver a successful project. Some of these stakeholders use products of your project, whereas some deliver the products of your project. So we must involve both. You also need to involve the business who actually pay for the project. Few stakeholders comes from inside the company, whereas sometimes they are also external to your company. For example, your suppliers. The people who work on your project come from different departments, locations, and external organizations. So when they are assigned to the project, they should know what they are supposed to do on the project and who they have to report to. PRINCE2 defines the roles and responsibilities required on any project. This helps in bringing accountability within the project teams so that we know what to expect and from whom. These roles are assigned to the project management team members. All these roles are compulsory and must be assigned, and none of these are optional. So you can't say we don't need project support on this project. Each role has to be assigned to somebody. Some examples of roles: senior user is the one who is responsible for specifying the project needs and also use your products when the project is over. Whereas senior supplier, they actually provide you with the solution and the technical resources. And the executive, well, they provide the funding for the project work. And then that's you, the project manager. And what are you responsible for? Well, almost everything, from planning to delegating work to your teams, as well as keeping everyone informed about the project status. Prince2 organization theme describes the levels of management in projects. The theme defines the structure of the project management team and the roles and responsibilities. People who are assigned to the project management team are given these specific roles. The organization theme also includes the stakeholder engagement and how communication should take place between the project team and the external stakeholders. By assigning these roles, you know exactly who is going to pay for the project and who is going to define the project requirements and of course who is going to provide resources for doing the work. You also know when there are any changes to the scope, who should we go to get them approved. So each role comes with a defined responsibility. The project board is the top level management within the project management team. They are appointed by the corporate. The project board responsibility is to ensure the project gets direction and management control. There are three roles that makes up the project board. These are senior user. A senior user represents those who uses the products of your project. So all the users who have requirements or who are going to use the products of your project, they send their representative, generally a senior person, who ensures that the need of users is protected. Whereas senior supplier, they provide you with the resources, technical solution, and they are responsible for delivering the solution. But we also need business representation, and the business is represented by the executive. And the job of executive is to ensure that project is funded. Executive pays for the project and ensures that the project remains value for money. We need to fill these three roles. The executive will always be one, but you can have one or more senior users and senior suppliers. Amongst them, the senior user and executive, they represent the customer aspect of project, whereas supplier is the supplier of resources and solution. Prince2 is based on customer supplier environment wherein the customer provides requirement and probably pays for the project, whereas supplier provides the solution and resources and probably gets paid. However, both users or customers and supplier could be from within your company for internal projects. The project board together ensures that project is provided with the required control and direction. The Prince2 process directing a project covers the activities of the project board and when those activities are to be done. The board is appointed at the time of starting up a project and initiating a project. Ideally, senior people who have authority to make decisions and commit resources should be appointed to the board roles. The board reports to the corporate or program management, and the project manager reports to the board. Let's see the other project management roles in the Prince2 team. So we have corporate and we have team members, and between them sits the project management team in Prince2. The roles are only management roles who have to basically do management, planning, and decision making about the project. At the top level, as we said, is the project board appointed by the corporate or program management. The board's responsibility is to ensure project remains valid throughout. Board has three roles. Executive, generally a senior director level person who ensures that the project receives the required funding, so is responsible for securing the funding, but also about ensuring that the project is value for money. The executive is the owner of the business case and ensures that the project remains strategically aligned throughout. Executive reports to the corporate, and usually a very senior level management person must have authority to commit funding to the project. And then we have senior user or senior users. Senior user again comes from the departments or stakeholders who are affected by the project. Usually those who use your product or support your product in operations, they are the one who come and take the role of senior user, a senior guy amongst them actually. The job of senior user is to ensure that their problem is understood, their requirements are understood, they provide with the acceptance criteria to the project manager, and also ensure that they participate in project reviews and acceptance. They are the one who finally receives the products of your project and signs off the project. If you are implementing a ERP project, then senior user will come from various department who are going to be the users of the new system. You can have one or more senior users. They are also accountable for benefits. So they say what is the problem, they use the solution, and the solution brings them the capability to deliver benefits to the organization. So if benefits don't come, the corporate can hold senior user accountable for that. And then we have senior supplier. Senior supplier is the one who basically designs the solution, delivers the solution, and brings the resources required to develop the solution. They supply materials, they supply equipments and technical resources. Generally, a senior director level person or a senior manager takes the role of senior supplier. They are responsible for contract, they are responsible for delivering quality, and they are responsible to ensure products are delivered as expected. So in the ERP example, the company who is supposed to be implementing the ERP solution, that company's account director or sales director could take the role of a senior supplier and participate in the project board reviews. Senior suppliers could come from internal or external organizations. And that's your project board. And together they make decisions about the project. Executive will always be one, whereas senior user and senior supplier roles can be shared. Executive and senior user together forms customer of the customer supplier environment. Then we have project manager, which is you, and your job is to ensure that the board requirements and expectations are understood, delegating, planning and delegating work to your teams, ensuring their progress remains as expected, and helping them take corrective actions. Your job is to monitor risks and issues and control changes. You will be keeping the board and stakeholders informed throughout the project. Basically, you will be managing one stage at a time. So you will plan the stage, get the stage completed, go to the board, get it signed off, and go to the next stage. The board reports to the project board. Sorry, the project manager reports to the project board. And then we have team managers. Job of team manager is to take the work from the project manager, generally called as work package, understand the terms of reference, check constraints and risks in delivering that work package, negotiate with the project manager if required, and then make your team plan. Ensure that the teams are doing the work as required, get your deliverables checked and quality controlled. Also, keep the project manager informed using regular checkpoint reports. And when all the work is completed, hand back the deliverables and work package to the project manager. You can have one or many team managers within your projects depending upon the project size and the number of members. You also have a role called project assurance, which is actually three roles: business assurance, user assurance, and supplier assurance. Project assurance job is to ensure that the project manager has plans which can actually achieve the objectives of the project. The project assurance works for the board members. In fact, can be played by the board member themselves if they have enough time in hand. The project assurance advises the project manager in using best practices, checking the reports, plans, and registers of the project manager. They also ensure the people who participate in quality reviews and quality activities have enough competency and the work as stated in the strategies is being complied with. You can call them whistleblowers or kind of watchdogs. Generally, they do project audits and they report to the board. They are not to be confused with the quality assurance people. Quality assurance people are not part of project management team in Prince2. They are outside the project management team. So quality assurance is actually looking after all projects within a company. So they work across the organization and report status to corporate. Whereas project assurance, they are part of one project, the part of each project, and they report to the project board. Board members can do their own assurance if they have time in hand. Then we have the project support role, and the project support job is to assist the project manager and team manager in updating registers and logs. The project support assists the project manager in administration and keeping the documentation controlled. They are responsible for document control, compiling reports, tracking project plans, and assisting project manager in running the project. Sometimes they are pretty experts and also help the project manager in setting up plans and compiling efforts, etc. They also collect the data metrics, etc. for the project. And then we have change authority. The job of a change authority is to provide decisions on the changes submitted to them. They basically approve, reject, or defer changes. The change authority role could be played by the board members, by the project manager, could be by project assurance, or a nominated person by the board. So the change authority role has to be assigned, and generally they are given with some authority within which they can approve or reject changes, usually in the form of change budget. A change budget is used to approve new change budget is used to fund new approved changes, and it is assigned to the change authority. So if there is a change request submitted to the authority by the project manager, if it remains within the change budget, they can decide what to do with that change request. This role could be taken by the board members if they have time in hand. Now we have so many roles in Prince2 project management team. Of them, corporate or program is not part of the project. They sit outside, they commission the project, and they basically control the project through board. We have the board members, which are three roles. We have project assurance to ensure the project is independently reviewed of the project manager. We have change authority to provide decisions on changes, project support to assist project manager in documentation control, and team managers to actually run the delivery teams. Now, so many roles you can scale up or scale down based on projects. So, what it actually means is each role is compulsory. You can't do away with any role. It's just that you can combine roles and assign it to one person on small projects. Like if I'm running a small internal project and I don't have enough bandwidth to assign all roles, then I can combine some roles and assign it. Which roles I can combine and assign to the project manager? So if I'm playing the role of a project manager, which other roles can also be assigned to me? Obviously team manager, so I can run the teams myself, and I don't need a team manager because the teams are very small, just 3 people. So I play the role of project manager as well as team manager. We are not saying that we don't need a team manager. We are saying the project manager is also doing the role of team manager. I can also do the role of project support. That means I am also keeping the project documentation tidy, maintaining project files, and ensuring documents are version controlled. It means we have not done away with project support role. It's just that the project manager also plays the role of team manager and project support. And in some cases, the board can allow the project manager to play the role of change authority up to a certain extent. So not every change goes to the board. So you can filter the number of changes that goes to the board. Remember, board is senior people and they have many other things in their hand. So instead of going to them for every small decisions and also impacting the momentum, it is possible that some authorities are given to the project manager, like technical changes. So the project manager can play 3 roles: change authority, project support, and team manager on small projects where your budgets are low or you don't have enough bandwidth. Similarly, which board roles can be combined without causing a conflict of interest? We said Prince2 is based on customer supplier environment, which means executive and senior user come from the customer side, and these roles can be combined when the projects are done within one department or small projects wherein the executive and senior user role can be combined and given to the head of that department. Like the head of department decides on the requirements and the priorities and also decides the funding requirements of the project. So those 2 roles can be combined. However, senior supplier role should always be kept separate from the customer facing roles. As I said earlier, board members, if they have enough time, then they can also decide to do the project assurance rules themselves. If they don't have time, then they should nominate someone to do the role of project assurance on their behalf. However, project manager will never play any of the board role or should never be assigned with the project assurance role, because obviously it is conflict of interest. Change authority role can be also taken up by the board members if they have time to spend on change request approvals or rejections. Now that's how the roles can be tailored. Uh, the do's and don'ts: keep the project board size manageable. Uh, Not every user or supplier will be on the board. Make sure the board size is manageable. Apart from that, be careful about conflict of interest, like project manager and assurance role combined, or project manager and board role combined, or customer and supplier role combined. Now, that's what Prince2 project management team is about, and the roles and responsibilities. Uh, the Prince2 organization theme covers the structure, the roles, responsibilities, and also about how these people communicate with each other and how they communicate with the corporate and external organizations. And that's called as communication management strategy, which actually lists the names of stakeholders of the project, how they are affected by the project, their interests, and how the project is going to deal with them. What information will be sent to them, when, and by whom. That's communication management strategy, which documents the information needs of the project stakeholders. So when you talk about board, you are actually ensuring all major stakeholders of the project participate in project decision making. And these major stakeholders are users, who are represented by senior user, because they are the one who are going to use products, so they must have a say in the project requirements, approvals, prioritization, and acceptance. And the senior suppliers, because they are the one who are going to deliver solutions, so they must have a say in agreeing to the cost and timelines of the project and ensure that they are getting inputs from their customers. Whereas the executive, they are the one who pay for the project. They should make sure what they pay, the value they get from the project is justified. They also have to make sure that the project remains strategically aligned. So we actually bring three project interests together on the board: the business, the users, and the suppliers. You can also call them bus. All right, so that's basically is a Prince2 structure, and we end the webinar in here. Thank you.